We will now reconvene from closed session. Ms. Ambris.
7:52. Okay, it's 7:52, and there's no reportable action taken in closed session.
Item J, Superintendent's report.
Okay. All right. Well, really, at this point, we have nothing new to report. We've had a good functioning of schools. We've had a lot of activity at the elementary schools with their programs, and I've had the opportunity to visit at least one in its entirety, going into every classroom. And I had the opportunity to visit a few at Maine's, but the ones that I visited at every classroom was Rockwood. And then Maine's, I was able to visit about 3 or 4 of the rooms. It was really wonderful to see the teamwork of 3 particular teachers, and I hope I'm not getting their names wrong. I believe it's Mr. Nelson, Mrs. Balk, and I want to say it's Mrs. Solis. I hope I didn't get their names wrong. And the coordination that they were doing to get the kids prepared for the Christmas program, and the activity and participation was just really, it was tremendous. It was good to see. It was good to see the teamwork and the kids being so responsive to what was going on in the classroom. And so we've been working diligently in trying to get ready for the new phase of our new board, and we hope that we have positive progress.
Thank you, Ms. Ambris. Before we move on to comments from the public, I just want to ask for a moment of silence. We lost a retiree of ours from the teaching ranks, Ms. Elaine Weininger, and if we can please rise and have a moment of silence for her. Thank you. Is Mr. Horton here? Ben Horton? Okay. Mrs. Annie Urick?
Annie Urick, BC staff member. I would like to say it has been about 17 years since Blanche Charles Permanent Building opened its doors for the students. For several years, BC staff has requested indoor locks on the classroom doors in case of a lockdown. Finally, about 2 weeks ago, we had the locksmith install the locks. It took him about 20 minutes to install the lock on my classroom door. It took an incident for the district to finally install the locks in case of a lockdown. And in conclusion of this short speech, I would urge the district that the well-being and safety of students and staff should always be a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Urick. Monica Urrutia. She's gone. Okay. Mr. Raúl Ureña. Mrs. Annette Valle Zuniga.
Hi, good afternoon, board members. I would like to start by saying, well, first, my name is Annette Valle Zuniga, and I am proudly attended Jefferson School, De Anza Junior High, and Calexico High School, graduating in 1996. But today I'm here as a band booster representative and parent for the Enrique Camarena Junior High. I am requesting for this board to make a good on a request for funding for band uniforms that was approved by CUSD board back in 2010, which unfortunately for the students was frozen during the fiscal year or fiscal crisis. Our band students have been performing in parades and events around the valley for years, outfitted with makeshift uniforms put together by dedicated band booster parents, which I believe there's a couple of them here today. Because prior board members have not followed through on the decisions and promises. Enrique Camarena Junior High is the only school in the district to not have uniforms, and I believe in the valley as well. Therefore, we are requesting that the purchase order that was decided on and approved back in 2010 for uniforms be fulfilled. The band students of today and of yesteryear deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have another request for oral communications. It doesn't say public comments, but given the previous presentation, I think it's in the same area as Ms. Rosario Garay and Maria Jimenez.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Y como padres venimos representando a Kiki Camarena y pues igual venimos a pedir el apoyo y que esta vez sí se haga posible que los niños tengan su uniforme porque ya son muchos años. Y la verdad la banda nos representa muy bien a Calexico y queremos que vaya con todo su uniforme como debe de ser. Queremos una respuesta y un apoyo, pues ahora sí, que sí se pueda hacer, por favor.
Los niños en la escuela, ellos tienen mucho gusto en tocar, les gusta, van a los desfiles con mucho gusto, con mucho orgullo, tocan lo más posible bonito que ellos puedan. Pues yo he estado con ellos como madre de familia, he estado con ellos, los apoyo y la verdad pues en todos los desfiles son los únicos niños de la escuela de aquí de Valle Imperial que no llevan uniforme. Nosotros entre padres organizamos para que vayan ellos igual, pero de alguna manera sí se ven diferentes, como que los opacan mucho los demás niños con sus uniformes.
Muchas gracias. That is all the requests for public comments. Hold on, let me look. I'm sorry, Mr. It was, you didn't check off public comments. Is that what you want to do? Address it? Okay.
Honorable School Board, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vincent Cuevas, and I am a citizen, a concerned citizen. I recommend you consider redoing the bids for milk consumption, which is a very major issue because 6 weeks we have had cartons and there have been no complaints, and consumption has gone up in milk. And Altadena Heartland is 2 cents cheaper than the Escondido bid, and I feel strongly that that you should reconsider the bid and look over the fact that it's cheaper and it's local. And if you go outside, you'll be going to Escondido, and Altadena products are favorable at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas. Doctor, please come to the podium.
Good evening, board members, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome our new board and congratulations. And I like to move the board to move forward with the business of the community and the education of our children. I believe we, coming in front of the board for many times, and I'm putting the safety and the health of our children in the community on number one. I believe we need to find some funds to close our high school, especially because the high school is a mess during lunch. I visited the high school. There is no organization. There's no way anybody can control what's happening there. And I believe there's a lot of activities going there, which not legal, and there's a lot of drugs. And I think this problem is continue to go on. And I think the solution is easy. We need to purchase maybe 4 trailers and make them as a cafeteria, join them together, and maybe that creates a better environment than leaving our kids just wandering during lunch. I admire Mr. Pesquera for all his work, but there's no enough. And I think we need to call on a joint meeting, and I've been asking for so many times. I mean, I'm so tired of asking the same thing. We need to bring the fire department, the police department, the administrator, the principal into joint meeting and find a plan and resolution to this problem, because safety and health is very important for education. And I think our kids are paying the price. And I think the last incidents with this, what happened with this family, somebody killed his families here in Calexico because of drug problem. And I think we are not really well aware how much we have a problem with other kids that they are on drugs. And I think this is an urgent red flash for our community. I am disappointed with the board and the union about our colleague, Ms. Durazo, and I mentioned it before. I have asked so many times, we need to give her a little bit moral support from the district and from the union. She's in the hospital. I think she's been battling for a long time, and I think a little bit, passionate from the board and the union would be appreciated. I'm sorry, I was hoping tonight to get off early. I'm starting with my wife a new program. It's called Thank You for the community and for the teachers and the staff. Tomorrow, we're going to be giving lunch to Enrique Camareza as a thank you from our heart to the community, because we believe in our teachers and our staff, and we're going to preparing lunch on tomorrow. On Monday is going to be the high school. On Tuesday is going to be the old Dianza, and on Wednesday is going to be Kennedy. I like to see, I'm sorry I passed my time, I like to see more teachers of the month, principal of the month, and classified employee of the month. I mean, this is recognition of our community. It doesn't take that much to make a certificate for these people that given their work and their hard dedication for education, and be part of this new board that adapt a new resolution to include these hard-working people that are part of our community for their dedication and for their hard work. And thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a request for oral communication from Mr. Ralph Vargas. Is that under public comments, Mr. Vargas? Is he here? Is it under public comments? Yes. Please.
Yes, my name is Ralph Vargas. I'm with Altadena Heartland, and thanks for the board for letting me come up here and speak. There was a proposal on the school bid that was due on December 3rd. We put one in, and my understanding is our bid got rejected because of it was not completed. I don't know what was not completed on it. And so that puts us out of the loop. But if our bid is not completed, the proposal that the school put in for a school bid is not completed either. On page 21, it calls for 11 school sites to be delivered. They only show 10. And the 11th one, they left Kennedy Gardens out. So my thing is that the board, I'm asking the board to redo another bid on the school milk, since the first bid was not a complete bid. And, we're a local dairy. We've been serving the collection school district. I've been with the company for 35 years, and we've been delivering to them before that. The biggest concern last time was the cartons, that the kids were having problems. They've been getting cartons for 6 weeks, no complaints. I keep track of all my school milks. Consumption in the Calexico School District has gone up since we went to the cartons. So that's another consideration, to take. But that's, I'm just asking that to rebid on the milk, if it's possible. And, that's all I have to say. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Kenya Gomez?
Kenia Gomez, TK educator, and that's transitional kinder. And I just felt that I needed to make a comment in regards to the milk. I didn't think I was going to make a comment at all today. My students happen to receive snacks throughout the week, and I've noticed a difference between the packaging of having the carton for the milk. Prior to having that packaging, they had these little plastic little bags that they would have to open up with the straw. And I don't know if you've ever seen the little kids try to open up these packages. They're little plastic little bags. They get the straw and they just like puncture right through it. I've had little kids, some of my students, not little kids, my students, cut themselves because they do it with a lot of force. And once that happens, they learn because of negative behavior or negative results. They put it on the table and they either use the straw and like they just puncture through it because of what happened and they got injured before. Another thing is that they play around with their food, which is expected of children this age, and sometimes they remove the straws and they squeeze those little bags and you have milk spilling all over. With the milk carton, it's very easy to open. You don't even have to open the entire flap completely. You just put the straw in there and you close the flaps. So even if they remove the straw, you prevent the spilling. And I think it's, in my opinion, I would rather have those milk cartons instead of the little plastic little pouches. And we are trying, I'm teaching my students to be responsible for what they do. If they spill the milk, they know they have to get up and wipe whatever milk is spilled on the floor or whatever is spilled on the tables. But we also have to be considerate because we have less personnel to come and clean up after the students. So it's been helpful not having those incidents with the milk anymore. So I just wanted to express that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chad Cooper, I have you down for public comments as well.
On open session items. As of last night, electronically, item 12 on the agenda, the backup documents for legal counsel to the board wasn't available. I'd like to do some independent research My understanding is that the documents were available today. Busy teaching all day. I don't have time to do the research that I think I need to as a member of this community when this information is provided at the last hour. And I love the electronic items, but when it's not in the first agenda, I'd like these documents to be available here in this boardroom. I understand they're probably available with the district receptionist. And again, was helping students till 4 o'clock, ate a quick dinner, took a couple phone calls, came over here, district receptionist has gone home. So it was very difficult for me to track down this information. And so I'd invite the board or recommend to the board to postpone awarding the RFP until the public has an opportunity to look at this information. Other thing I wanted to bring up was, you got 1,700 pages of board policy. To download it takes about 15 or 16 minutes because for some weird reason, downloading PDFs from the district website, no matter what connection you have, is super slow. Very, very, very slow. And I attended a city council meeting to see our distinguished school board member get sworn in with my own 2 eyes, and I saw the city attorney there be very efficient. She gave city code for everything that was going on. And I said, well, why didn't our highly paid attorney used to give board policy? So I spent part of my lunch looking in board policy, and there's 12 reasons to have a vacancy. Winning a city council election isn't one of them. Superior Court judge ruling that he's ineligible is one of them, but, you know, I don't know who gave you the advice to put you in a position to act as if you're a judge, but we have judges to enforce whether you are guilty or not guilty. And I just really think that if all of us spent more time looking at our contracts and our board policy, we wouldn't be reinventing the wheel. Too often, the staff, and I'm going to blame our former, maybe former, I don't know. I still see him hanging around in Holtville. Whoever comes next, or maybe the superintendent, needs to refer to board policy before they tell the school board what to do. I mean, when it's time to appoint Ms. Aguilar president, we talk about board policy. But when it's time to kick Mr. Kim off the school board, maybe, I didn't hear any reference to board policy. So please, let's start looking at that board policy, and I also need backup documents in a timely manner, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Ms. Annette Butner, this is public comments.
Good evening, I'm Annette Butner, parent. I want to caution the board regarding when you're looking for counsel to represent the district. I just want to ask you to make sure that not only that you look to board policy, but to make sure you do a full background check and check references, and just make sure that the council who will represent us is not being sued, by other school districts, and make sure that they're not recommended by Yuri Calderon or in any way associated with him. Please check that they are not recommended or in any way associated with GCR. And please make sure that you lower the budget from 3.7 million to at least 1 to spend on legal attorney fees and consultation fees, because that is excessive, and that money can be better spent on students, to bring back teachers, to bring back counselors, to bring back the bus services, to bus our children. It's pouring rain. A lot of kids were absent from school today. What happens to our ADA? You're worried about collecting money, pinching pennies? What's happening to our ADA? Provide these services for our children. And to the new school board members, I urge you, if you really have our children's best interest, look seriously at this and stop the wasteful spending, because this is ridiculous. But thank you, and I congratulate you, and I hope you really will look after our children, because I have 4 children, and I've got no one looking out for them. And we need you to get our backs, like Mr. Kim. He's been the only one who speaks out and is verbal and is adamant and passionate about speaking up for children and their best interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. I have a request for oral communication with no information other than the item L8. Does anybody recognize that or see none? We are out of oral communications. We move on to item L. At this point, I would ask, I will proceed from my left and ask board members individually if you have items from the consent agenda to pull. Mr. Kim.
Yes, yes, I have a L, 2, and 5.
Repeat that again, please.
L number 2 and number 5.
L2.
And L5.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Calderon?
Nothing at this time.
Not at this time. Mrs. Duarte? Okay. We can do that. I first wanted to get the members what they want to be, and then we can do everything as a whole thing.
L8.
L8. Okay. I do want to pull two, actually I had 4 items, but I'll limit it to 2. I'd like to pull for separate discussion item L6G and J. I'm going to ask for your guidance. I've actually wanted to modify and add that in those items to include board participation. If we can change that, I don't have a problem consenting it. Can we modify that and
Modify.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear about the 6. You said that you want to pull out the 6G?
Yeah, I'm asking right now the superintendent that I would ask for it to be pulled for separate discussion or action, only if it's not possible to just modify it right now and then consent motion on it. Can it be modified?
We can approve the ones that are not going to be pulled, and then we'll talk on.
Okay. All right. Then I will ask that we pull those for me. 6G and 6J, yes.
Okay. So,
And then at this moment, I'll call for a motion to approve all other items except the ones noted. With any, is there a motion to do so? You had something else to include.
No, I have table, but other items not in the consent agenda.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve all other items other than the ones requested to be pulled?
I make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Duarte. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Item L2, Mr. Kim?
One thing I have right now, first of all,
Keep track.
the page 13 of 29. GCR LLP, $38,819. Oh, good for this time. They have a invoice date, September and October, and this year. Before I jump in, is that the actual, before this month, everything's been paid, taken care of it?
Ms.
Or
Rendell?
there were some bills left?
There are bills left. We received them in our office, I think, last week, and we're still reviewing them from last year. And they will come to board probably in a lump sum. So I just want to caution or alert the board, but we're still reviewing the bills at this time. But this will not be the last payment.
No, I'm not asking the last payment. I'm talking about
sorry, we are not,
before September bill is been taken care of it or not?
No.
Okay.
We still have all
So
of
they're
those
jumping into
bills
mid-
from prior year that we'll
Okay.
need to pay.
And also, I was keep asking the board, we need to have more details, not only summaries. And we need how many hours been what case. Of course, we don't have to say the case name or individual's name, but we need to have all the details before we approve this one. We are the right causing or not. So let's say they counting 20 hours for the board meeting, we might be in there 15 hours. We're not gonna know. This is business. This is basic of the business practice. We need to confirm. We need to check. I understand that that's in a way that's our staff's job. But since we stay other attorneys engaging, we need to know. We like to know. I like to know about the more details. So I like the one of this one. I like to table for the next meeting. We can have more details before we approve the correctly approve the bill or not.
I have a motion to table. Do I have a second? Seeing none, motion dies for lack of a second. Do I have a second motion?
I'm not making motion to the whole budget. I'm talking about this section only.
Okay, please continue, Mr. Kim. Remember, you have 3 minutes.
The other one, unfortunately, I didn't have much enough time to look into. But right now, in the end of the pages, we have a cash balance. We have $12 million from the general fund.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make the motion to, yeah,
I still have discussion.
okay.
I had made the question already, but for the record, on Mr. Raul Martinez reimbursement, if he is representing the state, if this reimbursement is for the state board that he sits on, it should be reimbursed by the state, not by the school district. He does not represent the school district alone. He represents part of the state. Therefore, the board, it is a state assigned board. He should be reimbursed by the state. Therefore, I request that the district does not pay.
What page was?
It is, I'm sorry, page 18. It's reimbursement for mileage to attend Board of Directors and Legislative Advisory Committee meeting. And he's been appointed by the state, so therefore the state reimburses him.
I can follow up with that, just to verify if it is for a state committee. If you approve the warrant, and for instance, if it's not, then he can receive his reimbursement. But after following up with Mr. Martinez, then if it is a state that he sits in on behalf of the state, then we will just have the county void the warrant.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I have
One
a question.
moment.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I still have a question regarding the question that Mr. Ken had about payment to for legal services. Was it page 13? Was it $38,819? No.
38,000.
Yes, exactly, for September and October. Now, you mentioned that the next, that we have more bills coming up, right?
That's correct.
Lump
But
sum. Yeah.
you have more bills coming up, right?
Yes.
But now, why are they billing us for September and October and not, why haven't they billed us for prior months? Why, is that common practice with them?
I'm not sure if that's common practice, but as a favor to the district or as a courtesy to the district last year with our
Cash
kind
flow
of difficult
problem.
cash flow issues, they did hold off on the bills. But now we've received all of the bills just within the last week and a half, and they're span over 9 months, so there are quite a few bills to review, so that's why they hadn't been paid. So the current bills, I don't know if they have new staff, or I'm not sure what their practice is, but we've been receiving bills from GCR.
Now, these bills that you're getting from them, you did say that in the following meetings, you're gonna have a lump sum.
Correct.
Why lump sum? Why not itemize whatever they're charging for?
What I mean is that it will be a large bill because it will be a span of over 9 months. So like how these bills for September and October are $38,000. And, bills vary as services are rendered. So if there is a larger payment to be made, because it will be over a longer period of time, that was just a courtesy comment to the board that there will be a larger bill for GCR services because it will encompass all of the bills that were from last year.
And an itemized billing is available to board members to come and review at the district office for your
That
review.
is public information. I'd like to see the public how being
We've had
billed.
this discussion, Mr. Kim, and I'm not going to engage with you.
So we're gonna get a lump sum, and
No, we have the bills and they're itemized by
Itemized.
month, but what I'm making,
But here
when
we're-
I say lump sum, I'm making reference to the payment will be over a span of a period of time, so
Okay.
probably 9 or 10
but
months.
you will provide us with itemized bills or
You
bills.
could come into the office and review
Okay.
the bills, yes.
Oh, okay. Now, these two bills, these 2 months, that's 38,000. Do you have? I don't know. I haven't.
We have a detailed bill, if you'd like to come in and view it, as to what services were rendered for those.
For September and
That is-
October.
That is correct.
That's correct.
But on the pre-list, obviously, it's a pre-list of all of the warrants, and we do have the backup documentation to support this document.
Okay.
And you can come in
Okay.
anytime and see.
Thank you.
Can you let us know what month left over
Sure.
before this one, in the middle, what months we didn't pay them?
More than likely, and I'm sure that Tina, the AP staff, she has a spreadsheet of that already, but more than likely, when it comes on the next pre-list, it will be detailed as to what months we're paying for and how much per month, but that will be a lump sum total.
Okay. When it's time for us to decide, it would just be one big sum. That's
Yeah.
that's what you're saying.
Possibly, and/or it might break it up by invoice, but we'll put as much detail or description on it
Okay.
as possible.
I just don't want people to think that we're getting a bill like that and then we're just paying for it without
No.
even looking at it. So-
And that's where you, as an elected official and representative, it is
I can-
it is
yes.
incumbent on you to come in and review the data here because it is kept here for the purpose of the confidentiality of legal representation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Ms. Zuno?
So,
No, not this time.
okay, I'd like to make the motion to deny Mr. Raul Martinez the reimbursement, page 18, PB 130426, I believe, and table that GCL LLP's bill for next with the details, and approve the rest of them.
I have a motion to deny the item reimbursement for Mr. Martinez. To approve the pre-list with the exception of the payment for GCR and with not having reimbursement for Mr. Carlos Martinez due. I have a second.
Can I ask a question? Do we have to have a second? I was under the impression that you were going to get clarification on the Mr. Martinez issue.
That
so
was my recommendation, yes.
Okay, so can we?
That's not the motion, though.
That's not the motion.
The motion is to
The
deny.
motion is to deny it.
Okay.
Because that is
Excuse me, Mr. Kim. I am in charge of running this meeting. I have a motion by Mr. Kim. Do I have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Do I have another motion?
You seconded, no?
Nobody seconded it.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to approve the pre-list with the recommendation that Ms. Randall added on Mr. Martinez.
Okay. You have a motion by Mrs. Ruth Duarte to approve with the recommendation that she provide additional research and information. Do I have a second? I'll second. No. Ms. Zuno? Mrs. Vizcarra? Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Zuno?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Go down to item 6G.
L5.
Five.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Item L5, approve board meeting and agenda deadline calendar for 2013.
I make,
First of
May I
all,
ha- Excuse me, Mr. Kim. May I have a motion on this item L5?
make a motion to approve calendar as is.
Motion by
Second for discussion.
Excuse me, Mr. Kim. You have a motion to approve board meeting and agenda deadline calendar for 2013 by Ms. Ruth Duarte. Do I have a second?
second for discussions.
Item has been seconded by Mr. Kim for discussion. Mr. Kim?
First of all, why we change the date of the meeting? They're supposed to be put on the agenda as a change the date of the meeting first, not just like slicking the calendars, like changing the date of the meeting. It's like I've seen several agenda in like this one. The hidden agenda we have to do one thing and the first, and then you have to do another one. But we have the second one put into approve another one. Just like we had the CFW contract to said we're going to have 2 years.
Mr. Kim, limit your comments, please, to
yes, my
the item
comment
at
is I'm
hand.
using the example. Same things in this one. Why we have to approve the change in the meeting date first. Then we make the schedule for that. And we don't approve then the change in the meeting date, just sneaking around with the calendar. I was lucky to see right now. If not, I'm going to approve it. And so we have to approve the date of the meeting, regular meeting, from the Thursday to Tuesday. And what I believe that last time we had a Tuesday meeting, a lot of staffs and even a lot of people was very tired. So we was pushing back to the Thursday again. So Thursday was comfortable for almost everybody, even the staff of the administrator. Now we're changing again. And last time we were changing back to the Thursday, I clearly said we should not do changing around the yearly basis for somebody's schedule. The Thursday is for us like just one day before the weekends. That everybody had kind of really relaxed, even the teachers or staff, they have kind of relaxed it. But if we have a Tuesday meeting, everybody get tired the whole 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Board, Mr. No comments. Mr. Calderon, Ms. Duarte?
Is there is no calendar. December was the last day, right?
Our meeting all raised had on Thursday. Except
Mr.
that
Kim,
1 year
Mr. Kim, you had your opportunity to speak. Ms. Uno?
I have no comment.
Superintendent, do you have a report in terms of why this was placed on the item, as an item?
This was put in there because we do need to approve a calendar for our board meetings for next year. In reference to whether these meetings were always on Tuesdays or Thursdays, some people expressed an interest, from the board that if they could consider a Tuesday. These board meetings in the past historically were on Tuesdays, not, I think last year they went to Thursdays. And so it's actually going back to what was previously done in years past.
No,
Actually, Mr. Kim, last year I
And throughout the
requested,
valley as well.
I
We only had
requested
1
the
year.
Thursday.
You only one here to
Excuse me.
You only have 1 year to Tuesday.
Excuse me, at this point, all of you have had an opportunity to speak to the item. I will call for the question and ask for a motion
Well,
on this
confirmation has
item.
been
I
voted
make
it.
the motion to approve the calendar as is.
Motion has been made to approve the calendar as is by Ms. Ruth Duarte. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Seconded by Mr. Ciro Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Item passes 4-1. Next item, L6G. Approve attendance/discipline/suspension training provided by Sherman Garnett for all CUSD administrators, administrative assistants, and attendance technicians. I asked for a separate discussion on this item because given the fact that we have repeatedly asked for guidance from ICOE in terms of how board addresses expulsion hearings and so forth, I think it's incumbent upon us to provide this type of training as well for the board. So I would ask that this item include representation from board, maybe perhaps 2 board members, and then those who can come back and report to, or share, not report, but share that information with us. And that way we get a board perspective. So at this time, if someone would provide a motion to approve this with the stipulation that we have representation by 2 board members.
I make the motion.
I have a question, though.
Okay.
If we go, as board members understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, if staff goes, administrators, administrative assistants, this all gets paid through categorical funds. If the board goes, this comes out of what, general funds?
More than likely, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So we'd have to consider that any board member's attendance would impact our general funds.
Mm-hmm.
But do we
know the
have
fiscal-
a category?
I'm sorry?
It would only be for 2 books, for 2 additional books.
That would be the only cost for 2 additional, or for 2 board members to go?
Hortensia, can you come to the podium, please?
Okay, the training is here, it's local?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just provide
Insight.
Good evening. I would love to have you there at the training. So yes, the only additional cost will be for the material, which would be 2 books.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms.
Thank you for
Hernandez.
clarifying.
Thank you.
2 bucks plus 2 books. No, books. Libros.
With that said, I make a motion to approve item L6G.
We have a motion by Mrs. Ruth Duarte to approve and include board member
and include
participation.
2 board members' participation.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Second by Mr. Calderon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hi.
Motion passes 5-0. Go down to item 6, L6J. participation for Ciro C. Calderon and Leticia Z. Vizcarra to attend the Institute for New and First-Term Board Members in San Diego, California on February 8th and 9th, 2013. Again, it's my understanding that there is also additional type of workshop that exists, that it is available there, besides that one?
There is, I think that there is a President's Retreat and a refresher course.
At that time, I would also think it would be important for board members to attend. Particularly, we arrived late. Our flight was delayed, and I was not able to participate in the president's training. So I personally would like to attend that.
But did they have a board of presidents training same time?
Yes, sir. So
they actually have the Brown Act also.
That would also be, I think that would be good for all of us to attend. That way we are all on the same page. We can't say we didn't know, or we're not informed, or we don't know, or one has one interpretation of what the Brown Act is. Okay? So I will entertain a motion to, if that will include the board, to attend the Institute on February 8th through the 9th. Do I have a motion?
I'll so moved.
Moved by Ms. Duarte. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Zuno Vizcarra. Discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
With these type of trainings, is it customary for board members to attend more than one training per year? Or is it a common practice in the past? Has it been? Is it something that
there are different types of trainings.
Okay.
In terms, I'm not speaking for anybody else. In terms of the board president's one, was that our plane arrived late, and I was not able to attend the board president's. That's my interest. And the secondary interest for me is that we as a board all attend a Brown Act training, so that we are all on the same page when it comes to having a correct definition of what constitutes Brown Act violations and what our rights and responsibilities are within that, including online.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, may I add that also there's laws that change, and we have to move with them. So that's where we go and get the training. We all hear it together, because there's different workshops at different trainings. They can't get the same presenters everywhere. So sometimes there's different workshops that you've never heard of before. So there's always something new to learn.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there is no further discussion, I'd like to move to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. We move on to item L8. L8, I'm sorry, L8. Thank you. Item L8, approve quarterly report on Williams uniform complaint for August to October 2012. Ms. Zuno Vizcarra, you asked for it to be pulled. I'll give you first opportunity to speak to it, starting from you.
Thank you. I had an opportunity to look at the Williams complaint, and I thought it was really important to bring it up, because when our school year started, and well before our school year started, I think it was well known throughout our district that we had a lot of issues, a lot of safety concerns that as a parent, concerned me, and today, sitting here before you as a board concerned me, and what I'd like to ask my fellow board members to do and our district staff to do is that we look in the future, that we know we live in an area that gets hot really quickly, and I think our equipment needs to be looked at as a priority. Somebody talked earlier about safety and the health of our students and their well-being in the classrooms, and not just for the students, but for our teachers that are in these classrooms with a lot of sweaty kids, that we consider that we become proactive this school year. I mean, we know that the heat is going to come. We know that it gets also very cold, that our systems are operational, they're functioning, that we look at this well in advance and make sure that everything is as smooth as possible, that at least in that respect, the transition from summer break into a learning environment is, in that respect, as smooth as possible, so that it's the best working and learning environment for our teachers and for our children. I was looking at some of the timelines in which work orders were submitted by teachers, and you could look at this information and see that very many follow-up requests were made by teachers, by parents saying there's standing water in the sink, teachers saying, I have open house coming up, can somebody please get the black water out of my sink? And you know what, the emails were very polite. I mean, I think of me at work, my emails would have been a lot crueler, and I'd have been really mad. I know at home, if my sink is clogged, I mean, it gets fixed right away, and I would expect the same level of service or even greater at our school. I think our kids deserve it. It's a health risk, and we need to be proactive. So I ask that this board look into the procedures and maybe streamline them so that they're a little smoother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ambriz, is there a maintenance schedule set up? Do we have a maintenance schedule set up for the summer? For maintenance to do, to go and look up AC, air conditioning units, make sure that the water is running, make sure that we don't have health issues for the summer? Once the kids leave, once the teachers leave, once the classrooms are completely empty, do we have something like that in place?
Yes, I'm going to defer to Mr. Martinez to respond that to you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. Raul Martinez. In regards to how the procedures work, we have online services right now, and what we have is School Dude. That's the work order procedures that we have throughout the district. And the way it works is we have a requester, and then we have the administrator approve the request, and then thereafter it gets to us, and then we assign a worker to that. So, for example, the standing water, so an email can go from the teacher, it could be the senior custodian, site operations worker, and from there they develop one of the work orders, and that's how we get it. And at times, you're correct, sometimes we can't get to it that fast, but we do make priorities as far as anything that has to do with health, safety, those type of issues, security. Those would go first. In regards to backup water, obviously that's a priority. Last year we had Kennedy Gardens where we had a backup situation where the actual sewer line that went underneath the school site had separated. So we're having problems with that, and we got multiple calls on it, and we actually had a plumber address them almost once, twice a week as they came up. The issue with that is that we couldn't remedy the situation there on the spot because the sewer line was underneath the school site, and it was actually underneath the office and the nurse's office. And to address that, we would have had to take everybody out during school time and break concrete and so forth. Luckily, we were able to remedy that, and what came out was we We actually had a video of it, and it was an old snake that was broken there 20 years ago or whatever it was. We managed to move it out of the way, get it out of the campus, and then break everything outside. So that one took a little time. So yes, there's times where we can't address it right away. We'll do everything in our power to take care of it. Let's talk about air conditioners. Air conditioners is one of the major concerns, especially during the summer. Mr. Duarte does a very good job as far as trying to address it. We do have 3 HVAC techs, and they do have a preventative maintenance program going on. What does that mean? Right now, during the winter, they're actually already servicing air conditioners as many as you can. We just recently got done with the HVAC portion of the LEAP program, the grant the IID provided for us for $286,000. In it, we replaced 52 units. So we're trying to address everything as they come, and the safety, security, health, everything that would always be priority as far as we're concerned. Unfortunately, with staff, we have 2 plumbers. One of the plumbers has been out since March on workman's comp, a work injury. We have 2 electricians. One was gone for 9 months because also a work injury. And right now we have 3 HVAC technicians. One is also out because of workman's comp, a work injury. So, we try to address everything as much as we can and to be there as soon as we can. And I see Mr. Emilio Piñon in the corner. He's a plumber. He's been by himself for the last 9 months. And we try to address everything as soon as we can and as efficiently as we can when we hear about it. At times, it doesn't come to us that soon. There's a span of time before it gets to us. Most of the principals are really, really good about calling us in emergency cases, and, we try to address that there at that spot. But we are trying everything we can and to be there as soon as we can.
Thank you.
I just want to add that I share the concern. I did see the backup information beyond what we have here on our board package, and for me, also, it's unacceptable to have standing water over a month. It's not, I think we need to be a little bit more proactive. But I'll leave that in your hands and the people who have that. I do have a request for oral communication from Ms. Maria Bravo on L8.
Good evening, Maria Bravo, CSCA Chapter Number 399 President. I'd like to welcome the new board. Congratulations and good luck. For those of you staying, well, you did a very well job, even though some people may not agree, but yes, you did. And this is my last meeting as a chapter president because I'm doing other things, but I will still remain active, and a lot of people know how active I can be when I set my mind to it. Anyway, I understand the issue with the Williams complaint, but for the last 5 years, we've had a loss of employees in the maintenance department. Employees have retired, have left, and the positions have been frozen for some time. So there is a lack of manpower. And in order for these work orders to be given priority, you need to hire new employees. And also for you new board members, we are a merit district, meaning that the people, in order for them to work with this district, they must apply and qualify and pass an exam. If the exam is not successful, then those individuals cannot even substitute. They have to pass that exam. So if the exam is not passed and it's not successful in having the 3 ranks, then they have to go again, post for people to apply, and again, a test is given. The test must be passed in order for them to substitute. You cannot just hire a substitute off from the street. That's not going to happen. The main reason why is because then the Personnel Commission is in violation of their own rules. So these exams must pass. And just like Mr. Martinez stated, yes, we do have only 3 air conditioning HVAC employees. And also keep in mind that by May, many of these maintenance employees must take their vacation because they are not rolled over. So it's mandatory for them to take vacation, and that's why many of these employees will be out before the month of June. Because June 30th is the last day that they are able to take their vacation. And many times these employees have over 2 weeks of vacation. Why? Because during the school year they did not have time, or they accrued comp time because they have to work over the weekends for other issues that may arise. The custodians also have a schedule, and they must comply with this schedule as well. So many times we see issues at the school sites that haven't been addressed, but it's only because there is a time frame for everything. You have to be considerate about that. And sometimes as a parent, we demand and want things done by yesterday. Well, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. There are time frames that need to be followed and rules that need to be respected. And that's just for your information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ambris. I'm promoting you. Thank you, Ms. Bravo.
Ms. Aguilar, you have a chance to talk.
Yeah, Mr. Kim.
Okay, I'm sorry to say this one, but I forgot the name of the school. The kids requesting the water fountain, they don't have water. Only one water fountain at one side, and for them to have to drink water. Ms. Piscara was mentioning we are very hard areas. We should be enough water fountain or water resource for our children to they can to drink.
Duly noted. Thank
I
you,
believe
Mr.
that one has to be checked around all the school to be able to do it.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Kim. We'll move on to, do we have a motion to approve the quarterly report?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Zuna Vizcarra. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Kim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. My motion passes unanimously. I'd like to ask for a 5-minute recess. I need to use the facilities.
You don't get that right.
Sorry. Give me 5 minutes.
That was not in your job description.
We'll recess for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like for me to give a presentation of future?
Yeah, cool stuff. It takes a few of you to buy some.
Yeah, it does.
Check out my tool. Friday, 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's going to be all of us will be, so. Me too. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take this. The majority of us are going to get a rec council training, so I'll just text you when. Oh, 7 o'clock, or I'll text you at 2. Okay?
Oh, I just do that.
Yeah, just 7. How about 7? I don't want to forget. I know time we had your birthday party and your last one we invited.
Yeah, that was funny.
What are you doing Saturday for breakfast or lunch? Do you have plans for there?
Okay, all right.
Oh, duh. Okay, just Saturday birthday.
Well, is she gonna go now? I mean,
no. I came out camp for Friday. It's got to have a eating a happy hour this.
it needs to be happy.
Plus, Sherry Newell's got some good ideas for the Beyond fundraiser success. So we're talking business.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you can have ideas too. But I mean, that.
She's been really coming up here.
Yeah, she's going around for rice. And I don't think she makes 36 now. I don't really see giving her more than $4,000. And those pay like $55 grand.
Yeah, I know. What did Jane was? Jane was.
Jane was there 17 years.
Yeah, she was there a whole lot of years. She did a lot too. Not only was she there, but she did the drinks and stuff like that. Organized it up.
Done a very good job. Remember those sandwiches? You kind of made fun of us. The meal was pitiful last week.
They weren't ready.
They weren't made for jack shit.
No invitation, no reminder.
We'll now reconvene from the recess at 9:05. Going to item M, ratification of superintendent's contract for employment, M1. Ms. Ambriz. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
You want me to speak to him?
Well, no, just so that it's not anything new, it's just... Okay, we'll wait a couple minutes, Mr. Calderon. I guess I jumped the gun. Thank you. Ms. Ambriz?
Sure. Item M1 is the ratification of the superintendent's contract for employment. And at a previous meeting, this board saw fit to appoint me as the permanent superintendent or to remove the title of interim, at least for the remainder of this school year. And that doesn't mean that this board cannot go out for a search, obviously, in the spring. But until June 30th, I will be the superintendent for Calexico Unified School District. And so what we did is we've, in conjunction with our legal counsel, we're able to draft an employment agreement that I believe will be amenable for both the district and myself. And all of the details of the contract are stipulated in the document.
Ms. Ambriz, also for point of clarification, the contract is something that the board as a whole offered to you, and this is merely putting it in writing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, yes and no, because I mean, even though the amount was mentioned, it was not a ratified. It wasn't a ratified agreement, and so
that's where we are at ratification.
This would provide ratification to any of that.
Thank you. At this moment, I will entertain a motion to approve the ratification of the superintendent's contract for employment. Do I have a motion?
I have one question, though.
Question.
Under vacation and sick leave, the 24 working days is customary for superintendent?
Yes.
Actually more, but actually superintendents would receive more vacation days than that, but it's equivalent to what administrators at the district would receive.
Okay. Well, it does talk about 36 days.
Yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Any further question?
I just would like to make a comment. I'm sorry. There we go. I just would like to make a comment that this district, regardless of what has happened or what will happen, it needs to have some sort of direction. And I believe that the only way that we are going to have that direction is by having, in this case, a superintendent. Okay, I don't. Interim superintendent, she could have worked under that. However, she needs to feel that she is the one with that is going to take us to the next step. Okay, like Ms. Ambriz said, and she knows that on June 30th, okay, or even before, we have to make a decision. However, I think by ratifying this contract, I do believe that what we're saying is, yes, Ms. Ambriz, we trust you, okay? We trust your decisions. You have stepped up to the challenges, which are not easy, okay? So the public needs to know that. Just like in everywhere you go, there's a boss, okay? You don't have 2-3 bosses at the same time. That you have one director, you have one principal. Okay, you go to McDonald's. There's one manager. This district needs to have one superintendent. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to?
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Ruth Duarte. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Zuno Vizcarra. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
I didn't know.
Oh, I thought I heard you say aye. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have to abstain because I didn't have a chance to review the contract.
So yours is an abstention?
Abstention because I
Okay,
didn't have a
thank you,
chance to
Mr.
review
Kim.
the contract.
Let me correct that. Its motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Item N, superintendent recommends approval of each of the following items. Number 1, approve certificated employment report for December 13th, 2012. Ms. Ambriz?
We're still going to
Oh, we're going to.
We're going into
That still
closed
goes
We're going
into
into closed session for
into
that.
closed
So
session,
we'll-
yes.
We'll
Bring it back.
defer items 1 and 2 and move on to N3, approve the purchase of band uniforms for Enrique Camarena Junior High School. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve it.
Motion by Mr. Kim.
I will second that.
Second by Mr.
Discussion.
Calderon. Discussion?
Ms. Randall, this money is coming out from the general fund?
Yes, it is.
And I'm sorry, I didn't see the date of the quote. Is that an updated quote?
It is an updated quote. I believe in November is when we received the 3 quotes from the 3 different companies.
Okay.
Is that right? So it is,
November? Yes.
it's the, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me because I have the,
And he will honor the November 17th quote, which is who
Okay.
we're making the recommendation.
what is the total funding?
Mrs. Duarte, well,
41,000.
with all due respect, if we can follow how I asked, if we can have the discussion from the left to the right?
Oh, because I asked for discussion, you said
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
So
discussion, otherwise I figured that's where we're going that way.
that's all the questions I have.
Okay, Mr. Kim, do you have any questions?
Well, actually, not the question. We supposed to do about 2 years ago. This one.
Okay, Mr. Calderon?
I'm thinking, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but do we know by when we're going to have these uniforms ready for the kids to be wearing them and playing and doing all that?
More than likely, they will be available for use for the students next school year. It takes time to order the uniforms and to have them, hemmed and with the logos and all of that stuff put on the uniforms. So more than likely, if we receive them, they'll be at the very end of this school year, but more than likely for use next school year.
Okay, perfect.
Ms. Zuno Vizcarra?
I just want to thank the parents that came out here to talk about this issue, and I believe Enrique Camarena is the only junior high school that does not have a uniform, and I know firsthand that they do go out there and represent our school with pride. And one of the things that is a big ego booster for our children, and they need that, is the need to feel included, the need to feel that they are a part of a bigger system. And I think when they see that our system has provided wonderful uniforms for the rest of our students, we can't exclude any particular school. And I think anything that we can do to let all our students know that we care about them, that we care about them to the degree that they go out there and they represent our city, and they do it with a lot of pride. And I commend the parents that go out there and march with those kids. I see them out there shining those kids' shoes, cutting belts, combing them and grooming them, and I know that the kids go out and say all the time, they look at the other bands and they say, maybe one day we'll get uniforms, and the kids this year won't get them, but our future generations will get them, and they're going to really do justice to that school and to their pride, and they're going to move on to the high school, and everyone loves that high school band, and they're going to go already with that pride in them. So I'm looking forward to seeing this move forward.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Zuno Vizcarra. I'll echo your sentiments and also thank the parents for coming forward and being so patient. And I would ask that every effort be made to expedite it. If there's some way that we can get it before the end of the school year, let's try to do that. So I'll...
Madam President, I have another question. Well, it's a comment and a question. It really saddens me that the students that are there right now are not going to get to wear the uniform, unfortunately. I'm assuming that those students are going to 9th grade and they're going to be in band, and then they're going to have a uniform then, right? So my sincere apologies for that, for those kids. And like I'm on a second what Ms. Aguilar is saying, is there a way that we could talk to the company and see if they could have them earlier, so maybe they can parade one last time before.
We'll make contact or, to see what we can do. We can follow up tomorrow. Janet will follow up tomorrow because she keeps saying tomorrow. But just to make the board aware, in many cases, when we want to expedite service, there is an additional cost or charge for that. So whatever we are provided with, then we'll make sure and include that in the board's Friday packet.
Yeah, I think we have April, we have 100 years ceremony, isn't it?
Pardon me?
We have 100 years ceremony on this next year,
Oh, that's
April.
correct.
If we can have better earlier than that time, they can parade. Whatever.
Is that in April? Was that in April?
Yeah, I think so. We have April for the 100 years.
Madam President, if I may.
Celebration.
Yes.
I have been in contact with the representative, and there was a design already made for these students back in 2009.
Okay.
The delay would be he would have to come out, measure all the students, and that takes up to 5 months. We will. I will speak to him again if that's the board's wishes to see if we can expedite it, but be aware that there might be an extra charge for that. I too would love to see those Enrique Camarena Junior High School with uniforms this year. So I will do everything I can tomorrow to make that phone call.
So they get signed.
Please bring us.
Right now?
Please. I believe if not much of the money is worth to spend for the kids.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second, we had discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving item to N4, reject the claim for damages submitted by Richard Nixon.
Really? Do we have a Richard Nixon? That's how old this claim is.
Yes, there is a Richard Nixon that is filing a claim, yes.
Check his ID, please.
Ms. Donaldson, please provide information.
Sure. This is a property and liability claim that's been submitted to the district for damage, windshield damage. And again, to kind of minimize the costs for our insurance, it's more cost effective for the district to settle with the claimant because it is under a threshold of $500, and I believe the claimant is requesting just the insurance reimbursement, and I believe it's less than $200. So it's more cost effective for the district to reject the claim and settle. And with no future obligation to this person.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Donaldson. We'll move to, is there a motion to reject the claim for damages submitted by Richard Nixon?
I make a motion to reject the claim.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Zuno Vizcarra?
Yes.
Second by Ruth Duarte. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. At this moment, I want to pause. I'm sorry and apologize, Ruth. You asked for a minute to recognize one of our classified employees, and you wanted a couple minutes to say something.
I just wanted to say, Maria, you have done an awesome job as CSEA president for the past few years. Kept them straight, and I want to commend you for it. You are an excellent leader, and I hope that whatever you do, wherever you go, it's all for the better, and you get to grow high. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I get so many claims across my desk. I misspoke on this claim with Mr. Richard Nixon. Actually, we are denying this claim because it is over the $500 threshold, and we're going to refer it to our insurance company to handle. So I apologize for that. So that's why we are rejecting the claim.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification. Emilio, could you lower the AC, please? Or no, higher. I'm trembling here.
At least this one works.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to item N5, approve and establish a cash clearing bank account with Sun Community Federal Credit Union. N5, Ms. Donaldson?
This item to establish a clearing account is in direct relationship to our district not having a district credit card. If the board remembers last year, due to failure to pay our credit card bill, due to some issues with our pre-list and unapproved expenditures for that credit card, our credit card company canceled our credit card. So we use the district credit card for many reasons, for conference and travel and all of those things. So it's a necessity at the district to have a district credit card. We've been approved for a credit card at Sun Community Bank. However, in order for them to issue us a credit card, we need to open a checking account. And it would be a clearing account where if we receive checks and things like that, that we would deposit all of our checks in that account. That's the purpose of a clearing account, and then write one check to the county for a deposit. That is the real purpose of a clearing account. So in order to get our credit card as well as establish a clearing account here at the district, it's my recommendation that we open this account with Sun Community so that we can receive our credit card as well.
Thank you, Ms. Donaldson. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve and establish a cash clearing bank account with Sun Community Federal Credit Union. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Duarte. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Calderon. Discussion, beginning with
Yes,
Mr. Kim on my left.
Yes, believe this one you mentioning depositing the check. What kind of check we gonna deposit there?
Well, we receive a lot of different checks from from anywhere from insurance checks from our previous employees, like retirees that pay for some of their benefits, to we might receive checks for rebates from Target or Walmart or those types of things. Currently, we're sending them to the county, but in the event that there's an issue to where they don't allow us, because sometimes people do write personal checks that bounce. At times, the county doesn't want that responsibility of trying to be a collector as well, and it becomes the obligation of the district to do so. So in the event that we are responsible for that, we'll have a established clearing account as well as we're able to obtain a credit card.
Yeah, but at the same time, that is all the related accounting is going to be implying that one too. I mean, the check, you said we all different region we receive the check. So that when we receive the check, suppose we put it into our revenue. Or we have a reimbursement, whatever that's supposed to be, money comes in, we have to report as it comes in for the what region, what areas. So we are going to have a bookkeeping on this too.
Yes, and at this particular point in time, it will just be established with the $100 not for use. It's when that's a requirement for us to receive the credit card. But in the event moving forward that we need it to actually use it as the clearing account, it's available to us to do so.
Yeah, but what I'm questioning, in case we use it, we're going to have a bookkeeping for that account.
Yes, that is correct, and it's something that would be audited as well. Our auditors would audit this account as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Calderon?
No hidden fees. No, if we have less than a certain amount of money, we're gonna charge you $5.
It is my understanding that there are no fees associated with this account.
No monthly, nothing.
Not that I'm aware of, no. And no.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Duarte?
Nothing.
Ms. Zuno-Vizcarra?
No.
I have no questions. We'll proceed to the vote. We had a motion by Ms. Duarte, and seconded by Cito Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item N6, accept the 2013 Internal Revenue Service Standard mileage rate of 56.5 cents per mile for business miles driven. Is that you, Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I so moved.
Motion by Mr. Kim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Zuno-Vizcarra. Discussion, starting with Mr. Kim on my left.
Well, I think Everything's going up, so I don't have any.
Mr. Calderon?
No, it was, go back. So that's established by the IRS, so there's no negotiating or nothing like that. That's it. Okay.
That's the feds.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna argue about that.
Ms. Duarte?
I'm happy to see that it's gone up a penny. But gas has gone up by $4.
Ms. Zuna Vizcarra?
Nothing.
I have none. All those, we have a motion by Mr. Kim, seconded by Ms. Zuna Vizcarra. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item N7, approve the supplemental educational services contract amendment. Ms. Ambriz?
I will defer to Dr. Estrada
Dr. Estrada, can you please come to the podium?
for supplemental educational services.
Yes, it's an addendum because the company was not added at the beginning when we submitted the first agenda item. The company didn't reply to us, and they didn't show up to our fair that we usually have in September. So subsequently, they showed up, and we added them to the list. And the dollar amount reflects what each company would get per student if the parent chooses that provider.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
You're
Estrada.
welcome.
Do we have a motion to approve? My motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Thank you.
Second for discussion by Ms. Duarte. Discussion starting on my left with Mr. Kim.
First of all, I was keep asking, they have a kind of a rank or recommendation how their performance. Is that any, we don't have any data yet?
Dr. Estrada, can you please come back to the podium?
To the podium, please.
The last time we have informed that as long as they are approved by the state, we have to give them the chance to service our children. But I was asking their performance level, which is how their success rate, how many students been their grading going up, or like they need to have some kind of their performance data we can provide to the parents. They can have like a little more information. They can choose the company.
Yes, and what was discussed last time as well was we provided the information that now this year what we're contracting with a software company that's going to be able to collect information on the students who actually are provided the services, and that information is going to include a pre and post test, and that's going to actually tell us if the service has made a difference on student achievement.
So when is going to be available? When is going to be available for that data?
The data is going to be available at the end of the school year, because if the services start at the beginning in September, then we measure achievement at the end of the year. So this is going to be the first year that we work with that software company. So we're looking forward to getting the results that we're getting.
I'm sorry. Actually, the results should be come out after the API score come out?
The results would come out because they do their pre-test and then post-test. So we don't have to wait for the API or for the CST scores at the spring, because the companies would actually administer their own assessments as an option.
But by own. That is what the individual, that companies self-grading or self-performance data. But if we can get the same, that companies, individual kids, API scores going up after the API scores coming out, then we can see the third eyes, which was the government's the eyes to say really evaluating their performance.
Okay, and there's another feature within this program where you can actually use not the API, but part of the API is CST score, so you can actually use that as well. So they can use their own assessments, but you can also use assessments that we have on our different database or software, like Data Director.
Yeah, so maybe we can use that one of the assessment for the all the service provider we can have a third eyes to evaluating their performance. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mr. Calderon?
Stay there. Ms. Ambriz, if I'm mistaken, we are on fourth year program improvement, or year three? Year three. So this is mandatory?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these services that we're talking about, you mentioned there's a software company that is going to do a pre and post test, right? Now, are they also, what kind of services are we getting in between?
The services include either, it depends by the company, but the primary service is tutoring, additional support for the core. So what that looks like is different. In one company that might look through online tutoring, another company might work one-on-one, another company might do a hybrid between both online tutoring plus a post-test and one-on-one. So it all depends on specifically on the company that we have, and of course we have several companies, but the typical model, the general approach would be the one-on-one tutoring in combination with the online piece.
Okay, and parents have been made aware of these services available for them for free, right?
There's
Yes.
a fair that is provided. There's a fair of providers, and the parents select the services provider.
Whichever
Whatever
one
they
they want.
choose.
Okay, and these services are provided, I'm assuming, after school.
They
Yes,
have
that's
to
correct.
Be, they have to be
Supplement.
provided.
They have to be after school.
Right, they have to.
Okay.
They have to be.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. Hold on, stay there. You might have more questions. I don't want to wear your shoes out.
It's okay.
Ms. Duarte?
Mr. Kim asked my question as to when would we know the results of these tutoring companies that are assisting our children. I know that it's mandated that we have support, after-school support, but by the test scores that we got, there was some improvement. Hopefully, they had part in it, but we do need to start making those after-school programs accountable, because if I see $928 per student, that's a lot of money to a company, and if we're not producing the grades that we need to get, we need to look closely at them.
Sure.
But that's the question that I had, and it was answered.
Okay.
Ms. Vizcarra?
Just one question, Mr. Estrada. Do you know how many students are taking part in this program?
Okay, and this is an estimate. I want to say between 700, almost 720 licenses that are spread apart throughout elementary and all the way to high school.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Did you want to address the second question?
Just a second question. Do we have a limit as to how many, as you mentioned, licenses, as to how many licenses we can have as a district?
That is correct. We have a limit, and I think it's about 720. And again, this is just an estimate. I would have to look at that information and provide it to you if you want specific number of licenses.
Now, you did mention, it says right here, $982.34 per student for the 12-13 school year. Now, so for each student that they service, we are going to have to pay that.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, what about the student that attends for just 3 months and then decides not to attend anymore? Then what happens? Do we lose that license for that student, or can we pass that license on to another student?
That's a good question. And from my experience in working with the program, is usually tutoring companies provide an incentive for students to stay throughout. So when they sign up with them, I think they draw up a plan. And from my experience, again, this is just anecdotal evidence, is that they stay with the program and then they complete their hours. And usually the hours range between, it could be 15, 14. But my experience has been that they stay with throughout the course of the tutoring program.
20 hours
of tutoring.
Of tutoring, and then they get paid $928?
Approximately. That's usually how and again, I'm not familiar with the business end of it, but that's more or less what the program is. They charge basically per student.
Per year.
Yeah, per year.
Okay.
My only concern is, I'm glad that we will be having finally some type of accountability in terms of test scores and that, but I do think that internally we also need to keep track of the type of services that are provided to the families or to the students, and how many students we have per provider, have some kind of an internal monitoring system.
Yes, and we will emphasize that this year.
Okay, thank you.
And just so you know, in working with a previous school with program improvement and the supplemental educational services, yes, the companies do provide incentives for the students to stay for their contracted hours. However, occasionally you will have the student who just at one point may refuse to continue, or they may have reasons why they can't continue. If there's funds still permitting, if there's Title I funds still permitting available, then they may pick up another student at that point.
Okay.
And as you are aware, it's not necessarily, it's first come, first serve, but it's based on need. The students are demonstrating the highest need first, based on those first come, first serve, then they're the ones awarded the hours.
Thank you, Ms. Ambriz. So we had a motion to approve by Aguilar, seconded for discussion by Duarte. Can we go back now and make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Duarte. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, is that Mr. Calderon or Mr. Kim?
Me.
Mr. Kim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed unanimously. Item N8, award RFP number 2013-004, dairy products for fiscal year 2012-2013. Do we have a motion?
I make the motion to reject and open the bid again.
Motion by Mr. Kim
I
to
second.
reject it, and seconded by Mrs. Duarte. Discussion. Mr. Kim.
I don't know why that keep coming up in this way. What I don't understand what's the reason we have to be challenging our bidding process, and even it's embarrassing me to the application we got appointed by recommended by the staff is not incomplete one neither. So what happens to us? And what's the reason why our staff to try to support one of the companies only? And that's my opinion. And second is I've been seeing the package on the pouch. I don't feel like it's gonna be like a milk. I don't feel like that's like for me like a toys. And like the teachers was mentioning is exactly what I was mentioning last time. When they put pocket, they have more chance to leak the milk too. And also, we all to eating the food with the perceptions. When we go nice restaurant, we feel like a more delicious with the music, especially ladies likes with the candlelight. Okay, the same things on the kid. That pouch of the milk, it looks like a milk, but it's not looks like a milk. The carton looks like for us to like see them like milk and food, and the pouch is like just like one of the toys maybe. That's a horribly a different perception we're gonna have it. And also we have approved the data by the carton to kids more drinking, more consuming the milk.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Ms. Duarte, do you have something to comment on that?
Did you have something?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry.
So the key is the first and second graders, well, I'll go even lower than that. Kindergarten students will have to actually get the pouch, poke it, and drink the milk. Really? Is that what would happen if we went with this bid? With
Well, prior to the issue with the bid, with the milk, we've had pouches for the last at least year since I've been here. And I believe it was way prior to that, that's what we use our pouches here. And the company that we had been using, they're not carrying the pouches anymore. So that was one of the reasons for going out for bid initially. And this is, again, the third time. And now this isn't a bid, this is an RFP, a request for a proposal. But to answer your question, we currently use the pouches, or up until the current vendor doesn't carry the pouches any longer.
Ms. Donaldson, can you please provide background in terms of this RFP?
Sure. Like I previously mentioned, we had gone to bid for the milk, and it was the directive of the board to have us go out for a request for a proposal. We released the RFP on November the 16th, and they were due on December the 3rd by the participants. We established a committee for evaluation and we reviewed the RFPs on December the 5th. I was a member of that committee. Mr. Caballero, who is the Director of Food Services, was a member of the committee. Pat Rivas, our purchasing technician, and Mr. Mike McFadden, who is our Director of Special Ed, was also a member of the committee. In the RFP, it specifies what the district is requesting, meaning if we're requesting chocolate milk, white milk, cartons, pouches, all of those things that the district is requiring. In addition, the board had given a directive for other dairy products for vendors to provide us with pricing and samples, and that was all a part of the RFP. As a part of reviewing the submissions, the Altadena certified dairy, formerly known as Heartland, they were deemed non-responsive, because they failed to submit the required number of copies. They did not deliver the sample products as requested, and the RFP that was submitted without the original signatures, and none of the required documents contained original signatures. In addition to the items like the yogurt and the cheese that we were also seeking as a part of pricing in the RFP were not submitted along with the RFP. So after the review process, that is why the district or the committee is making the recommendation to the board after we were advised or directed to put this out for an RFP. Again, this is the third time, and now we've done that, and we're making the recommendation to approve the contract with Hollandia.
Okay, may I?
No.
So this company that is being recommended, do they use the pouches?
They use the pouches, or they supply the pouches.
So kindergarten students are going to have to grab the pouch, poke it, and drink it.
They've been grabbing the pouches, and it's like a Capri. Do you know what a Capri is? Like a Capri Sun? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Just a little plastic bag.
Yeah, it's a.
No, I know my daughter does that, and I have to clean them after herself, because she makes a mess, and she's 5. She's in the kindergarten, so that was my question. Thank you.
Ms. Zuno-Vizcarra, do you have questions?
No, they were answered. Thank you.
I have questions.
Ms. Duarte?
I too feel the same sentiments as Mr. Kim, which is not all the time, but this time we do. And since I'm the one that has been discussing this, I took the liberty to do a little bit more homework. And I understand the rejection of the bid for Altadena certified dairy deemed non-responsive for failure to require a number of copies and not deliver samples, but yet this company has been with this district for, I can safely say, for 20 years. So the sample, they've been our servers all this time. But I did take the liberty to look at the RFPs, And Hollandia, if the RFP would have come in, would have been accepted by Altadena, Hollandia would have been $49,000 more than the company that we've done business for 25 years. So I don't know why. It's good to go out to bid every other year. I don't know why this district hadn't done it in over 7, maybe 10 years, that never had gone out to bid. But if we were really talking about saving dollars and cents for the children of this district, we would be saving $50,000 on this bid if we would have gone with the company that has been providing the service for many, many years. Again, it is local, and it's bothersome to me how this other Hollandia, the one that was granted the RFP, or not granted because we're the ones that, but the ones that were responsive at any cost is trying to get into this district to do business, when we have no reason why we should change, especially when we find out in dollars and cents that we can save $50,000. Those $50,000 are the $50,000 that we can save for the uniforms. Although it's a different fund, it's cafeteria fund, and can't be used in the general fund, but the general fund has always loaned money to the cafeteria fund, always. So when you see those things, it's upsetting as to why somebody wants to come and do business here that is not even local. With that said, I think there's a motion to deny the request, the RFP. And with that said, I call for the question.
I haven't spoken.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. You haven't. So that's all I have to say for that.
Thank you, Ms. Duarte. My belief is that there was a process that was set up. There was an RFP was sent out. All interested parties were asked to provide a bid, and what we have before us is the one that completed the process. That's what I want to go on record on saying. And having said that, I will call for the question.
I'm sorry, I know I said I didn't have a question, but one has come up. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
And
I withdraw my call.
Ms. Donaldson, can I ask if there's an option to have this particular respondent provide the milk in a carton?
The Are you talking about
Hollandia?
Yes, they do. Well, they do provide it in the carton, and that's one of the issues is that our foods, because of space issues and waste, that's why we've used the pouches, because we can accommodate the cartons. They take up a lot of space, and we don't have the refrigerator space, which is why years back they have gone to the cartons, to the pouches. And so that's one issue. The other issue would be the waste of, throwing the cartons in the trash. Mm-hmm. And then the third issue is that the vendor, Heartland, they don't carry the pouches anymore. So that's what we're requesting. That was one of, in the initial bid, that's what we were requesting. We did receive, however, pricing on this RFP from Hollandia and Heartland for cartons as well as pouches. So that information was also provided to the district.
Okay, so it is an option, and I want to say that the RFP was put out there, and people had the opportunity to submit a complete package if they were interested, and I think it's heartfelt that we've had contract for X amount of years. One should still continue to demonstrate an interest in having business with the district. I hope we follow the same caution when we consider other RFPs, by the way.
Thank you, Ms. Zuno Vizcarra.
I do have one more comment.
Ms. Duarte?
I would just like to caution the board that we have heard that teachers and staff and students like the cartons. I would just like to say that if we do go to cartons with the RFP company, we will spend an additional $20,000 to $25,000 more.
Cotton?
Above the 50,000, yes, because they are a lot more expensive than
You're talking about the company Hollandia.
the RFP company.
Yes, Hollandia RFP, okay.
And I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I would just like to caution that, because if this RFP is approved and this district does want to go with cartons, we will be spending close to $70,000 to $80,000 more.
What you are providing us is?
What I have just provided to you guys is the RFP on both companies, Altadena and Hollandia. And if you look at the carton for Hollandia, it is $152,050 for 500,000 units. And if you look at Altadena, it's $121,850 for 500,000 units. That's just comparison on the cartons.
For the record, is this something that was provided to the district, or is this something that?
This is something that I did my homework, just like Mr. Kim does.
Okay, so this is not a.
That was also a part of the evaluation, and just to make the board aware, it's still the recommendation of the food service director that we provide pouches and not cartons of milk.
Okay, I'll call for the question, and we'll remind of the decision that you are making right now. The motion is by Mr. Kim, seconded by Ms. Duarte to deny the RFP. A yes vote will mean no awarding of the action, of the RFP. A no vote will mean yes, if that makes it clear, as mud.
To the
In other words,
the motion is to deny.
the motion is
Okay.
to deny. If you vote
yes,
the RFP is denied. If you vote no, it is awarded. Or you go, it ends it, and then you go for another motion. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Okay, so yes means we're denying.
we're denying.
So yes means we're denying the RFP. Yes.
No.
No. Motion passes to deny the RFP by a vote 3-2. Ms. Donaldson?
So for further clarification, would the board provide me with some direction, or maybe not at this time, but at a future time, as to how we want to proceed? Are we going to go to RFP again? Or
My motion was open to RFP.
I don't think we could motion, but I think we can give direction, put out an RFP, and go through the process again, and I will remind board members that it will come before us, and hopefully we do get a response this time.
I would just like to know, Madam President, if I can,
Yes?
on the RSPs, it says the Board of Trustees of Calexico Unified School District reserves the right to accept or reject any of and all proposals, to negotiate with any or all responsible submitters, and to waive any irregularities or informalities in this request for proposal. That is on the RFP in the front.
What is your point of clarification?
Point of clarification is that we can negotiate with the company, with the existing company, to validate the quotes that they did on their rejected RFP, and we can continue with the company. with cartons.
And waive.
And that is not the item that's on the for discussion right now, but I will take your point into consideration.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I will think that that will be something to be addressed. I mean, to be considered, to be placed on the agenda, and we'll discuss it further in detail.
Madam President, we have 4 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to extend the meeting for no
We still
more.
have closed session.
That's fine. According to, if I'm not mistaken, I reviewed my bylaws, said we can entertain a motion to extend it no further than 10:30. If we do not conclude our business by 10:30, we will continue this meeting and at another special board meeting. So I will entertain a motion to extend the meeting by half an hour.
Okay. So it'll be a continuance, not another special
That's
meeting.
correct. It'll be a continuance.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I second.
Okay, I'll motion, you second. All those in...
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was your motion.
No.
So moved.
Okay, well, is there a second?
I second that.
Motion by Ms. Duarte, seconded. Motion to extend the meeting by half an hour as per board policy by Ms. Duarte, seconded by Mr. Ciro Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-1. Go on to item 9, resolution for CalSTRS redeposit payroll. Ms. Randall, is that you? I mean, Donaldson. I keep going back, sorry.
Actually, it's Miss Estrada.
Thank you.
And it's not Ms. Randall no more.
I know, that's why I corrected myself.
It's hard.
I know.
Good evening, Teresa Estrada. This is a resolution that's required in order for CalSTRS teachers to be able to purchase service credit, to be able to buy credit for purposes of retirement. So the county office of ed CalSTRS really is requiring county office of ed to have the board act on this resolution in order for our employees to be able to purchase a service credit. We do have a specific employee who is applying for this, and if this isn't approved, he wouldn't be able to buy any service credit for retirement.
So,
Okay, so it is basically to adjust it to be able for...
It's to be able to adjust, obviously, for this particular employee, but it allows the county office of ed, since we channel all our payrolls through them, to be able to accept payment to buy the service credit for retirement for a CalSTRS member, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
for retirement purposes,
Yes.
right? So, okay.
If there are no further questions, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Zuno Vizcarra. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Calderon. We will now proceed to roll call vote. And I will start with Mr. Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Calderon.
Yes.
Ms. Duarte.
Yes.
Ms. Vizcarra.
Yes.
Aguilar, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Item N10, resolution approving submittal of application for all Cal Recycle grants, N10. Who is that? Somebody's?
I'm going to defer to Dr. Spencer on that one.
Dr. Spencer?
Good evening. What you have in front of you is one of the requirements of a grant that we have submitted this week. We were able to submit the grant before the resolution was passed. We have until the 17th to submit the resolution. The grant is for using recycled tires, and the grant is actually for $149,200 worth of recycled tires to be used. What we're going to do is use them in 3 of the playgrounds in order to replace some of the sand that's been worn down over the years. We actually had some Williams findings on that, and that's what we need for you to do, is to approve the resolution so the grant application will be complete. One other thing that the board might like to know about this is a grant that's that was written by the grant writing company that we have been working with for the last 3 months. This is the first grant that they've completed for us. Mr. Duarte did the groundwork on it and worked with the writer, and this is what's come.
What's the total amount?
$149,288, I believe. The total that we could apply for was $150,000, so they put it right to the limit.
How much have we expended on this company?
I believe that we pay them $4,500 a month.
$4,000.
And we have been working with them since October. Is it 4,000 or 4,500? I'm sorry.
4,500.
And $37.
Because they're charging us for phone calls and faxes. But we've been working with them for about 3 months now.
Dr. Spencer, didn't they stipulate a flat fee?
Ma'am, I wasn't in on the contract. That was a board action.
That's why I'm saying 4,000, because that's what Fergali had accepted, and Samuel from the company had accepted.
We have an invoice with
Okay,
additional fees.
Madam President, if you don't mind me personally calling Mr. Samuel, since I made the conversation with Mr. Fergali on the $4,000.
Yes, please do.
I'll
Because
negotiate
we don't want
with him.
it to be.
This was a non-negotiable item.
Yeah.
So, yes, make contact with Mr. Samuel.
Should we not, I'm sorry, should we not better direct the superintendent to make that communication? I don't want to disrespect you, but just for the record, it should be the superintendent.
I can come into your office and make the phone call with you. I have no problem with that. It'll be until Monday. I'll be out of town tomorrow.
Okay.
If there are no further questions for Dr. Spencer? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution approving submittal of application for all Cal Recycle grants.
So moved.
Moved by Duarte. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Zuna Vizcarra. We will do a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Calderon?
Yes.
Ms. Duarte?
Yes.
Ms. Vizcarra?
Yes.
Aguilar, yes. Motion passes 5-0. At this point, I would like to, considering that we will run out of time, I will ask that we defer item N11 to when we hold our special meeting. Is that okay? Or do you need to do?
I do.
Okay.
But I would appreciate if
Not a
I'll
problem.
make it brief.
Okay.
Because I have great news to report. So
Awesome. Okay, let's move on to N11, approve 2012-2013 first interim report. Mrs. Donaldson?
Good evening, board members. The purpose of this presentation is to go over the first interim report that for the Calexico Unified School District. I'll start off just by explaining what the first interim report is. It is a report that needs to be expressed to the community and to our board members of our financial position. There are 3 reports that are a state requirement. It's the first interim, and it's due to the county office by December 17th. The second interim report that will be due on March the 15th, and the unaudited actuals report that is due on September the 16th of 2013. What's inclusive in this first interim report are, at this point in time, estimates of how we're going to close the year. And when I say close the year, I mean what we estimate our revenues to be and what our expenditures to be, and if there will be deficit spending or if there will be an increase to our ending fund balances. Included in this report for the time period of July 1st, 2012 through the time period of June 30th, 2013, which is our budget fiscal year, are the Form 01, and that is a description of our general fund, and that is inclusive of the revenues and expenditures, as well as the budget for those, and that's unrestricted and restricted is inclusive on this Form 01. Also is the Form CI, which is the certification as to how we certify our budget, if it is positive, qualified, or negative. Form AI has to do with our attendance, and that is what we project our attendance to be for the current year. Form RLI, which is the revenue limit, and what this does is break down how we receive our state funding from the state of California and how much we will receive with the calculations for the deficits and so on and so forth. Also is cash flow, and that just keeps kind of a running total as to how we project our cash throughout the year and the cash that we receive on a month-to-month basis. Our Form MYP, which is our multi-year projection, and what that is a look at the current budget year as to what we project our revenues and expenditures to be, as well as for the 2 subsequent years, which would in this case be the years of 13-14 and 14-15. Form SEMAI, and those are, this report keeps track of our special education expenditures and makes sure that we meet our MOE, which is our maintenance of effort to our special education students. And also Form 01 CSI, which is also known as the criteria and standards. And what that does, it's just a check to the district in regards to revenues and expenditures, enrollment, ADA, to make sure that we are within our normal percentages and that we haven't skewed too far off base. And if there is something that is out of the normal range, then there is an explanation required. So I'm going to just talk briefly about the California state budget. I know that I had reported in a previous board meeting about the big meat was the passage of Prop 30 and what that meant to our district. Previously budgeted at adopted budget, we included a cut of $457 per ADA, and thankfully with the passing of Prop 30, we don't have to take that cut. So that really was a bonus to our district, to the tune of over $4.2 million. Also, there's the creation of or the inclusive of additional revenues to the state in the form of new temporary taxes. This is just kind of an overview of what's happening at the state. The state has created an education protection account for cash. With all of these changes, it's the hope of the state that revenues will increase, and our governor has, kind of given us not necessarily a guarantee, but he is going to make every effort to ensure that public education is not affected with such draconian cuts like that $457 per ADA. So that's definitely something to be thankful for from our perspective. I just want to also remind the board about Proposition 30, that with its passing, all the fact that we didn't have to include the cut, there are no new revenues. This is just the fact that we didn't lose an additional $4.2 million of our already in excess of 20% deficited revenue limit funding. It's just important at the state level just to remember that we are still, at this point in time, funded significantly lower than we were in 07, 08. to the tune of about 20%. So in 07-08, we received 20% more revenue than what we receive at this point in time, with, you know, the cost of things increasing. It's just also noteworthy that we are just participating in flat funding. So what we received last year is essential, in essence, is what we were going to receive this year, just by the change or deviation in ADA, which is, you know, very minimal. And depending on what our ADA ends up at P2, we will use prior year ADA to receive our funds for this year. So we should at least receive exactly from the state what we received last year. I'm going to talk a little bit about our first interim and how we update the first interim. We receive guidance from the county office and from CDE as to what things to include and what changes to make. I just will make a note that we did receive a statutory COLA of 3.24%, but it's not funded. And we're still dealing with the deficit of 22.272% to our revenue limit. The categorical programs were updated at the 2011-12 levels and with the new entitlement letters we received for the 12-13 year. And again, those programs are deficited by 20% as well from the 07-08 levels. Something to keep in mind, which is also built in the budget in the multi-year, is that in the years 13-14, we're expecting a 8.2% reduction in funding for all federal programs, and some of the big programs to be affected would be Title I. And special education. Also, a bonus to the district is that we're able to, with the creation of the transitional kindergarten, we're able to collect or receive funding for ADA with our transitional kinder. I'm going to talk just briefly about the revenues. In the unrestricted revenues, they're projected to be about $52.9 million. Which is an increase of about $3.9 million from the revised budget. A cause of that is removing the $457 per ADA, which is approximately a little over $4 million. Some other changes in funding was a reduction in the class size reduction funding due to staffing and increasing the class sizes at the class size in the K3 class. In the K3 classes, the funding has been reduced by approximately $263,588. We did receive an increase in unrestricted lottery funding, and which includes prior year carryover of about $231,000. We were awarded mandated cost block grant. This is new revenue to the district, and to the tune of $245,000 this year, something new. And just things to keep in consideration, just a reduction in all other local revenue, and that could be in the form of, you know, rebates and reimbursements that we receive. So just as a projection, I like to estimate, you know, low based on the trend or what we've received at this point in time. I just want to talk briefly about the categoricals. As a part of the deficits, the district is able to flex the categorical, some categorical programs, and this is just a list of those programs to the tune of $5.2 million to help fill the shortfall in that revenue limit deficit of that 22%. So this does not make up for it, but it does help in our revenue shortfall. In the restricted side, the district had a large amount of carryover in our restricted programs, and we've currently budgeted that. And also there's, and some of the big carryovers were in Title I, which is $685,000, in addition to EIA, which is about $4.93 million of EIA funds that rolled over. So now that we're in a better position, we can free up some of that money and provide services and supplemental supplies and things to our students and to our staff with those categorical funds. We received, again, additional lottery funds, also special ed mental health, a new item this year, and we received for that new program that Mr. Lucio Padillo Sr., we received, quite a bit of money, over $365,000 to fund that program. So we received some new revenue to help support the programs. Expenditures, has been increases in our expenditures on the unrestricted and restricted side for certificated salaries and benefits. One of the major reasons for that is the reemployment of 31.10 FTEs to our teaching staff, and also step in column increases for all certificated staff. Under the 2000s, that's classified salaries and benefits, and these would include increases due to additional assignments and categorical funds, as well as some positions that are not supported under categorical, that they have to be paid under the general fund. And as a part of increased salaries, benefits also will increase. I do want to make mention to the board that we are in receipt of $576,000 roughly from the ERRP funds, and that will help offset some of the cost of our health insurance premiums in January. And books and supplies, there's obviously an increase because we have so much carryover, and it's our intent to continue to provide our students with supplies and materials. In the 5,000s, which are our services and other operating expenditures, we have an increase in conference and travel, and a large part of that is in our categorical programs as we continue to develop our staff and send them to trainings and those types of things. Those are why some of those increases are. There are increases to rentals and leases of equipment district-wide, and that could meet the needs of our things in our maintenance departments and just other things like our copiers and printers and those types of things. In addition to an increase in contracted services with additional attorney fees, additional supplemental services, and those are funded through the categorical programs. And also the same with the capital outlay and the 7,000s, how the effect on that is because of our lack of spending trend historically, our indirect cost rate as to what we can charge our categorical programs has decreased significantly from last year's 7.82%, and that's all as a result of spending. Since we have such large amounts of carryover, we obviously don't spend all the money, okay? The districts, I think I covered that already. The district, okay, changes in the fund balance. With what this is, our revenues for the current year in unrestricted, restricted, and then combined, there's a deficit spending in the unrestricted general fund or an estimated deficit spending of $787,000. In the restricted, $5.8 million for a combined total of $6.5 million. And I just think it needs to be noted that as in the unrestricted, it has dropped approximately $500,000 as projected in our adopted and revised budget of was about $1 million, or a little over $1 million, $1.2 million of deficit spending. And in the restricted side, that's just to spend down the carryover. That's what that deficit means. And still with all of that, we've talked numerous times about negotiations, and we do have a settled agreement with our ACT teachers unit or union, and is the hope of the district to begin negotiations with CSEA at early in 2013. Our cash flow, which I have a handout, it's updated through with actual cash through November, and at that particular time there is we had an ending cash balance of let's see, of $12.9 million, and as of today, our ending cash balance is $12.3 million. So moving forward, we're in a good cash position due to our deferral waivers that the state has approved for us, so that has definitely been a bonus for our district. there is a possibility with the creation of that new EPA account from the state that we will need to seek a cross-year tran, and that will probably be something I will bring to the board at our January board meeting, or for sure by February, something that we will have taken a closer look at and brought to the board at that time. Our multi-year projections, and again, I'm just very happy to report that based on the passing of Proposition 30, we're in a really great position. At the end of this year, we're projecting a very healthy ending fund balance of approximately $9.7 million, of which 2.379 is our 3% reserve, so we're able to meet our obligation. At the end of June 2014, a ending fund balance of, that's just the unrestricted general fund, the unrestricted, so that doesn't have anything to do with our restricted, of $8.1 million with a 3% reserve requirement of $2.1 million. And on June 30th, 2015, we're projecting to have a little over $5 million in our ending fund balance with a 3% reserve amount of $2.2 million. So with all of that, it's just, I'm just so happy to report that based on, what we've gone through as a district, that we are fiscally in a completely different place than we were last year come first interim. Last year come first interim, we self-declared negative. Well, I'm here to tell you that today, as of this first interim, we're going to self-declare a positive first interim budget.
Okay.
That's it. And the other funds, they've just been adjusted to be updated for first interim and the other funds, so.
Board members, do we have questions, starting with Mr. Kim on my
Yes, I'm
left?
going to have a lot.
Well, you remember you have 3 minutes, Mr. Kim.
Teachers that need to go to work.
Yeah.
We all work.
That's why,
We all work.
Unemployment report.
yeah.
Substitutes in classrooms. And there's math teachers on tonight's employment report that need to go to work is what I'm talking about.
Ms. Aguilar, first of all, this is a budget. We have a lot of issues raising, and you just...
Mr.
try to
Kim,
keep
just
the
go ahead and
minute.
speak.
Wow. First of all, is this information in the website right now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because I couldn't get it. Okay. The one thing is the due date, why change it for the December 17th, and what I understanding, end of November.
I'm sorry, what?
End of November. The first interim report due date was changed.
No.
Okay.
We always have it.
So do we have impact fees here in the list? I don't see the impact fees in boarding.
What do you mean impact fees?
Impact fees, we suppose have an impact fee received from any constructions?
That's in another fund, and if you refer to page 10, on page 10, it's under the Capital Facilities Fund.
Page 10?
Page 10 of the narrative.
I don't know which page you're talking.
Page 10 of the narrative. And it talks about the Capital Facilities Fund.
That's the budget, Mr. Kim.
Yeah, no, this is budget.
The narrative
Page,
Stuff that's in writing.
This, Mr. Kim?
oh, the front. I thought it was here. Page 10?
Page 10 at the very bottom, the Capital Facilities Fund.
But how much is there? I don't see the amount.
Well, if you refer to your budget
Yes.
on Fund 25,
Fund 25?
mm-hmm. And you can find, it's on the top, the upper right-hand corner. What's currently budgeted for developer fees is $88,000.
Developer fees only $88,000 we received it?
No, we haven't received it. That's what the budget is. That's what
Budget
we're
is.
projecting to receive
But
this
we
year.
don't have anything.
No, we've only received $4,707.63.
Okay. I think so we need to look into the more money comes in.
And
Or
we are,
have
that's
something
that's why we've been at the, attending those meetings.
Okay, and the other one is, I found that, I think she's gonna get cut in my time, so I'm gonna go to the central. The 5,800, again, that's famous, we have expenses, page 7. We have projected expenses on the lawyer and consulting, professional consulting, whatever. The $5.2 million we're gonna spend this year.
Right, and
Why? What's the reason to increase it from the 3.8 now 5 to point?
Madam President, we have 4 minutes till the hour, till 10:30.
Thank you. And just as a, I'm sorry.
Finish your thought.
Just as a point of clarification, the 5,000s are not just attorneys. They are, it's all contracted services. So like those SES services that Mr. Estrada was talking about, those are also 5,800s. And remember, there are such large amounts of carryover, we have to spend it, and that's how we project to spend it. So when we talk about the 5,000s, it's not specific to, or even the 5,800s, that's not even attorney services. It's $5,800 encompasses a lot of different things like the water, the trash, the sewer. There's a lot of things that are encompassed in the 5,000 object codes. It's not just
I'm not talking
attorney
about the 5,000 object. I'm talking about the 5,800.
Okay, and that's for all contracts. Like, say, for instance, the band uniforms will be paid out of a 5,800. Because it's a contract that we're going to sign with this outside vendor.
The grant company gets paid through that.
That's correct. So it's not just specific to attorneys. I did
Yes, I
increase the
understand, but
budget to accommodate
Yes,
the
we're
attorneys.
spending a lot of
3 minutes, Madam President.
Consulting.
At this point, I will ask you to stop, Mr. Kim, and I will ask whether the board will entertain a motion to extend the meeting by another half an hour.
And also...
Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Kim, I've called for...
I'll make a motion to extend the meeting for another half hour.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Kim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Mr. Kim, I will caution you, you have about a minute left.
No. I didn't vote.
I'm sorry. No?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And the other one is we now with the proposition is passed, so we have a better condition on that. I like to see we bring the more teachers back, and I like to see what's called because the budget is impacting. We removed the $4 million, so we have more chance to get the more teachers back, and especially CURE program is we like to see bring back to the impacting our budget.
Okay, I'm sure that would be a directive to the superintendent, but yes, you are correct in that the fact that for the trigger cut is been placed back in the budget.
Yes, so I like to see at least even the half years our children can get some benefit of it there.
26.
So I have a lot, but I think I have a time limit is over. So
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Calderon?
We have 30 minutes, right?
Yes, 3 minutes.
But in total. No question.
You're good.
Yes.
Ms. Duarte?
I'm happy to see that we are in a positive certification. I'm not happy to see what the outcome of Miss ICOE and Mallory is going to say about that. So I'm not gonna buy balloons yet until we get her vote.
Well, I will just mention that it won't be the first opinion that we've disagreed with and that we've had it put back where we would like for it to be. And I will just let the board know that I did meet with the county today, and I did present this information to the county today. And I believe that they were satisfied at least the members of the county that I addressed, because I've answered every question and I've given them every detail that I can think of that's in this budget. So I look forward to an acceptance letter of our first interim by January the 15th, and I'd be happy to shout it out to the board. She's accepted it.
What she hasn't told you is that they were also satisfied and very complimentary of her report and her delivery of the report to the staff today.
That is great. I would like to hear it from her, though, personally her. Another thing is that if we are successful to finish the end of the year and we do get a positive, we have total control of the budget as to what we do with it, and she won't
That
have
is
any
correct, meaning
authority.
denying payments and warrants and those types of things, yes.
With that said, thank you, great job, and we'll continue to be looking out for those pennies that we can save so that we can bring more staff and hire more staff. Thank you.
Ms. Zuna Vizcarra, do you have any?
Thank you, Ms. Donaldson, for the report. And you're always very thorough and very accessible for my questions, so thank you.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Madam President?
Yes?
I have a question. Are we on item O at this point, or are we finishing the
We're
report?
finishing the first interim report.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I just want to make a couple of, say a couple of words before we go forward and vote. As with every item on this agenda, we all have access to it, whether electronically or through a board package. So, and again, I miss Mrs.
Randallson, that's what they call me.
Mrs. Randallson
is what they call me, so yeah.
makes herself readily available to each and every one of us for any questions. Having said that, we'll move to request a motion to approve the 2013 first interim report.
So moved.
Moved by Duarte, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Zuno Vizcarra. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Motion passes 4-1. Item N12, award RFP number 2013-005 for services as legal counsel to the Board of Education. Ms. Ambriz?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Did you? Let me check. You know what? I did, and I think I mixed it up with the other one. Come on up to the podium. I'm sorry.
We need to hurry up because it's not about me getting up in the morning, it's about classes starting the second semester. I'm out of order, I admit it. There's math teachers that need to be hired tonight. Please at least hire those because transfers need to take place before the new semester starts.
Thank you, Mr.
And I'm out of order.
Thank
you.
Ms. Ambriz.
Okay. Yes, we did issue for a request for an RFP for legal services for the 2012-13 school year, and after reviewing the packets that came in, 13 went out and 10 were submitted for review. The panel that did the review is making the recommendation that we approve Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Root, and Romo. And it would be a contract for 1 year and will continue in effect until either party provides written notice of termination. If you look on the back of the sheet that's submitted in your board packet, you have the recap of how of the firms that submitted proposals, and how they were, there's a score recap per evaluator. Again, there were 10 firms that submitted proposals, and the recommendation of the panel, and it was not taken lightly, it was a day-long event, was to award the proposal to Atkinson, Andelson, Lawyer, Root, and Romo.
Can you provide us a short background of who your, or not whom, but what your evaluators represented and the criteria that they based their evaluation on?
I can speak briefly to that. We had a panel of approximately 7 members, and they ranged from the different departments in the district. It was a one-day process, and each of us were provided with a packet of all of the submissions, and we were given a criteria to evaluate as far as what services they provide, if they provide service in regard to construction, to negotiations, if they provide HR services, and just a criteria of what we would need them to do for our district. So we would then rate them on a numerical point system and read their proposals. They were, as a part of the proposal, they were needed to provide letters or recommendations, and each firm would give us extensive background on the experience of the attorneys. So all of these things were rated as a part of the evaluation process. And with that 7-member committee, we did spend all day doing that, and that's how we came up with the number or the point system. And it was based on the total amount of points, and that's how the attorney firm was selected, by whoever received the highest amount of points.
And when you say recommendations, what are you referring to?
I don't know if I was speaking in reference to it's our recommendation to the board that, or they provided us with contact information for references, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what I said, but something along those lines, that the packets are very detailed, and if the board would at some point like to look at what we received as to how we evaluate a firm, and their level of expertise and their level of experience are all taken into consideration when scoring and rating on a point system from 1 to 5, and that's from 5 being excellent, 1 being poor.
How come I don't have a contract here? How come we don't see the contract?
We don't have a contract yet. This is just for us to approve them as our attorney, and then they will then provide us with a contract.
Madam President, I would like to this point to make a motion to table this item until we actually see the contract.
Well, we do have current legal that we do have a contract with, so we would have to give our current legal 30-day notice, and in between that time is when we would receive the contract. But it's also to be noted, as a part of the RFP, the pricing, all of that is evaluated as a part of the RFP process. So we don't have a contract because we do have a contract with a current attorney. So it would be all a part of that 30-day
But
process.
what you are asking us is to approve something that.
Without a contract?
I'm sorry. Am I?
No, go ahead.
Okay. You're asking us to approve something that we don't have yet. So I'm not comfortable with that. I don't doubt that this firm is good. I just would like to have some more information, or even have them come over and do a small presentation. So, Madam President, at this point, I would like to table this. I would like to make a motion to table this until we are able to review this company or this firm, and that if they can come and do a presentation, that will be great.
Well, and just for clarification, Madam President, what we're recommending is that you approve the request for a proposal, not a contract. This per your directive to seek legal or to go out for an RFP. So that's kind of what we're doing today. So.
But what kind of RFP
But we just did
have?
an RFP. I'm sorry, I jumped out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You spoke, Mr. Calderon. Go ahead, Ruth, what you had to say.
We do have Adelson, Atkinson working on cases currently right now. So what kind of a contract do we have with them right now? Because I recall this board, well, the old board had specific direction to cancel, to not do business with them. But they continued. They've always, they never left.
They continued because there were open cases.
There's an open personnel-related issue that they
But they've
are
been
handling.
doing, yeah, but I know that they've been doing other things, okay? They have been billing us, we have been paying them. My thing is, I agree with Mr. Calderon that we need to table this item, we need more information, because some of us that have been here very long with this district, they've been here just as long as Ken and Associates, or maybe a little less, but we need to remember where you and I took this district. This district was really bad. This district had that firm. And we were getting taken over by the state. Where were they as legal counsel to that board, to the previous boards and the superintendents? Where were they with the Measure J? Where were they with bonds? Where were they with all these other issues that we just cleaned up? There's a law firm that nobody likes, but yet that law firm helped us get us out. So my question is, when we do these evaluations of these companies, did we take those things into consideration? That where did that law firm put us in? And the other law firms, I don't recognize any of the names other than number 6 and number 7 and number 1. But I think at some point,
So at this point, are
we
you
should have an
are you
interest.
seconding?
I'm
Mr.
seconding this table because I think the board should have an interest as to who's going to be
So we have a
legal
motion by Mr. Calderon and second by Ms. Duarte.
Okay, can I talk?
Go ahead, Mr. Kim.
Thank you. Okay, first of all, we determined that Lozano Smiths, no more, we're not going to do any more business with them. But the Atkinson, when they finished the contract, I believe 2011, June 30th, when they expired the contract, we didn't do anything after that. So which is, it's like a kind of a contract they left over when they expired the contract to go monthly basis, but we didn't use it. We used it a little bit, but later on we didn't use them. So, no, I'm talking about the Atkinson. Lozano's, we did, like Ms. Duarte, we determined this, we're not going to do with them. But Atkinson, we just run off the contract. Now, okay, and the other one is what I'm understanding, we had a lot of crazy things in the last, like Ms. Duarte saying the Major J and those things. And actually, in a way, it's not the lawyer's fault. It's administration and board, they are not acting right. The lawyer is just like for us to protecting, or for us like requesting their view of the law. But who's gonna doing yes or no? The administration and the board make the decision. Okay. That came out for the bad ones last. And I wasn't happy on the Atkinson. I'm the one who was against it with them lawyers a lot of times in that time, because I believe the Atkinson, the lawyer at that time was doing the crazy things. I think that most of the people in the rooms, they know what happened. But I still see some kind of, they are very conservative way to running the business. And maybe it depends on the lawyer. So anyways, to go back there, we cannot make any decision to make approving them without any contract and cost us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kim. Is there any further discussion? There's a motion to table. At this point, I'll call for the question and go to vote. We have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion, my motion, right?
Yeah,
Aye.
motion to table.
Yeah, to table, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion is tabled. I will ask that we defer on O and move to P. We have 15 minutes, board members.
Which one do we move to?
We're going to close session.
What
So
about the employment reports?
that's in closed session, Mr. Kim.
Can we left over some portion to we can make the right now decision to approve the math teachers? I think they're very critical.
We have to close session, Mr. Kim.
Okay.
Thank you.